Good, you're going to spin up a dandy almost every time out. So Lucroy and Darvish taking the field, Rangers taking the field. We are getting underway here at Globe Life Park, and Tom is going to tell you about the Detroit Tiger lineup that Darvish will face tonight.
Ian Kinsler will lead off at second base. The center fielder is Tyler Collins. Miguel Cabrera is at first base, followed by the DH Victor Martinez. In right field, batting fifth is J.D. Martinez. Left field, Justin Upton. Third base is Casey McGee. Catcher is James McCann, and batting ninth, the shortstop, Andrew Romine.
And that lineup put together by Brad Ausmus, the skipper of the Detroit Tigers. They are going to face Yu Darvish tonight. Darvish has not faced the Tigers since back in 2014, prior to his Tommy John surgery. His ninth start this year. He has not won in the start since coming back off the disabled list. He has gone 5 starts since he had a victory, and that was before he had the DL stint. So Darvish trying to get back on track here tonight against the Tigers. Against Detroit, he has had good success in his career. He is 5-0 with a 3.60 ERA. This is his 6th career start against Detroit. So Darvish with good thoughts in his mind. He's had good success against this team. He has enjoyed working with Jonathan Lucroy, and all that, I think you cobble all that together into a prediction. Should be a pretty good night for the Rangers. And their defense tonight, behind Yu Darvish, brought to you by Chicken Express. Mazara, Desmond, and Chu left, center, and right. Moreland, Odor, and Andrus up the middle. Adrian Beltre over to third. And Jonathan Lucroy is catching. Well, the Tigers, losers of 4 straight ball games, come in at 61 and 53, trailing the Cleveland Indians by 4 full games now in the Central Division. Brad Ausmus' club was on a hot streak, kind of had cooled off lately. They were swept for 3 games by Seattle most recently. Rangers come in 6.5 games on top in the American League West. Lost the ball game yesterday, a long 4-hour affair in a hot afternoon, and they'll try to regroup. They have won 6 of their last 10. They are 35 and 18 here at home. And man stepping into the batter's box that knows a little bit about hitting at Globe Life Park, former Ranger Ian Kinsler. First pitch of the evening is a little bit outside. 9:47 is the official first pitch of the ball game. 2 hours and 40 minutes. The rain delay. Kinsler, a .293 average, up over 20 home runs for the 4th time in his career. He has 21, and he has driven in 62. Darvish missing inside. 2-0.
And one of the unusual things, as well as Yu has been pitching, about his performance, he's had 8 starts. The leadoff hitter of the game is 5 for 7 with a walk. So he has struggled against the first hitter of the game. He struggled against the first hitter of an inning. But he's been almost untouchable when you've got men on base. So go figure that out.
Yeah, a little while to get into the rhythm, into the routine, I guess, of the ball game. 3-0 pitch, and that is in there for a strike. And not trying to give an excuse for Yu Darvish. He will not use one. He doesn't need one. But a late start like this, 2 hours and 40 minutes after you're supposed to start, it does mess your routine up. And sometimes it takes you a little while to get the juices flowing again and get yourself mentally ready to compete, as Kinsler fouls that one out of play. And that would be perfectly understandable. Yu Darvish wouldn't be the first man to go out there and struggle a little bit early in a ball game that's delayed this long. Well, the count full to Kinsler. He is leading things off. Tyler Collins, the center fielder, will follow. Tigers on the road this year, 28 and 32. They have not fared nearly as well on the road as they have in Comerica Park. Now the payoff pitch. Popped him up. Shallow center, Odor and Andrus. Elvis making the call. And the catch for out number 1. You know, good job by Darvish to come back from a 3-0 count to get the pop out.
Yeah, and in that at bat, 6 straight fastballs to go along with it.
And Darvish getting a new baseball. Apparently that was a little moist. Humidity up here tonight, 79 degrees as we play in the first inning here this evening. Considering it's what, about 25 degrees cooler than it was yesterday at the end of the ball game. Tyler Collins, fleet-footed center fielder, takes strike one. Collins hitting in just .231, 3 home runs, 10 driven in. Tigers battling some injury issues. Cameron Maybin, the man they had brought in to play center field, had a pretty severe thumb injury. Had a grade 2 thumb strain and put on the disabled list just a couple of days ago. 1-1 pitch.
Yeah, that was a loss for the Tigers because Maybin got to the big leagues quickly, probably before he was ready, and then has been okay. But it looked like he was coming into his own as a player, hitting well over 300, not striking out as much, walking more. That was a tough injury for the Tigers.
Now the 1-2 pitch. Got him swinging.
All fastballs.
Fastball up. Collins is gone. 2 out for Miguel Cabrera.
And along with the more fastballs, when he's ahead in the count, he's been very adept at that. Getting the sign, Lucroy wants the ball high, maybe top of the strike zone or a little higher. And he's been hitting that target. When he had the 7 or 8 strikeouts against the Astros, several of them came on high fastball swinging. Boy, you could go back probably his whole career with the Rangers and never have a time where he threw the first 10 pitches of the game all fastballs.
I agree with you 100%. And he goes right after Cabrera with that fastball for strike one.
The other guy's got 90 and 91. Cabrera got 96. And that's one thing we've noticed about you. The 96-mile-an-hour fastball, sometimes 98. It's there if he wants it.
It's a nice thing to have in your back pocket just in case. 0-1 pitch. That's out of play, and 96 again. You know, there's a lot to be said for a guy that is noted for throwing some breaking balls, and very good breaking balls, to go out and not throw anything but a fastball in the first inning. It tells him something about his stuff, and it also tells the opposition, hey, things have changed a little bit. There's a kind of a new sheriff in town, if you will. 0-2, Cabrera waiting. Now 1-2. Last 10 ball games, Cabrera swinging the bat pretty well, and that's nothing new. Ranger fans remember that Cabrera has feasted on Ranger pitching. Last 10 games, a .405 average. Big slow hook. That's kind of an indication of how good a hitter Cabrera is. Now, granted, that wasn't the best, the best location that you could have put that in, but you see nothing but fastballs, and all of a sudden you drop that 70-mile-an-hour curve in there, and Cabrera able to foul it off. So 1-2 the count. Darvish to the plate. And our Ford leaderboard, career average against the Rangers. Great Vladimir Guerrero, the all-time leader at .395, not far behind Miguel Cabrera at .390. Minimum of 50 ball games.
Yeah, Mickey Mantle was 55 years old when he played against the Rangers.
Cabrera reaching and popping it into shallow right. Long run for Chu. He can't get there. And he throws behind Cabrera, but he's back in. So Chu was playing over in right center field. Just couldn't make up all that ground. It's a blooping 2-out single for Cabrera. Now, the pitch before that last one, Cabrera on that 96-mile-an-hour fastball, and then that slow curveball, some 30 miles an hour slower. Cabrera still able to get wood on the ball and get it in the diamond for a base hit. Wasn't pretty, but a lot of guys couldn't do that. Well, here's Victor Martinez now. Cabrera at first, and still 2 out. 0-1. Martinez, the switch hitting designated hitter. He is 10th in the American League with that .305 average. 20 home runs, 66 driven in, and he has not been able to solve Yu Darvish in his career. 0 for 6. One ball and 1 strike. And again, we'll remind you that Darvish has not faced these Tigers since 2014, prior to his Tommy John surgery. Matter of fact, May 22nd of 2014, he worked 7 innings in a 9-2 Ranger win. That was the last time he had an outing against Detroit. Inside corner. 1-2. Rangers in an overshift against Victor Martinez. Kind of an odd overshift. Rougned Odor in medium right field, if you will. But he's shading toward the line. Elvis behind the bag at second. That leaves a pretty good size hole at the normal second base spot. Got him swinging. Heat up and away. 2 strikeouts in the inning. Cabrera gets a base hit, but he's left stranded. Half an inning in the books. Tigers nothing. Rangers coming up on Fox Sports Southwest. Now the Rangers coming up, and Tom's going to tell you about the Southwest Airlines Rangers batting order.
Well, the right fielder Shin-Soo Choo will lead off. Ian Desmond batting second. Carlos Beltran batting third as the DH. Adrian Beltre knocked in 7 runs in his last 4 games as the the cleanup hitter. Rougned Odor is at second. Jonathan Lucroy will catch. Mitch Moreland, really hot, playing first base. Nomar Mazara is in right, batting ninth. Hitting .295 for the season is Elvis Andrus.
And that lineup put together by Jeff Bannister tonight, facing Anibal Sanchez. Sanchez making his 19th start of the year, and Choo fouls off that first pitch. 0-1. Sanchez with his 27th appearance overall. Fastball, changeup, curveball, and slider in that order of usage. He's been on a pretty good roll lately. Last 5 starts, he has gone at least 6 innings. Rangers will try to get ahead of him in the count, not let him get to his secondary stuff, which he's so good at. Last time out, Sanchez 8 innings of 1 hit, or 1 run ball, I should say, against the Mets. Had a no decision in that game. That is best start of the year for Detroit. Ball ripped foul down the first baseline. Still 0-2 to Choo. Shin-Soo a .261 average. Took an 0 for that long game yesterday. 7 home runs, 17 driven in. Tigers shade Chu completely around to the right on the infield and slightly to the right in the outfield. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Good look at the defense with third baseman McGee playing the shortstop spot.
There's been a lot of times this year where Chu has gone the other way, and with one guy on the left side of the infield, he's hit a lot of balls that way.
Straight away center. Collins backpedaling makes the catch. Chu hit it pretty solidly, but that is out number 1. Take a look at the Tigers defense behind Sanchez tonight. Upton in left. You saw Collins in center. J.D. Martinez in right. Right side of the infield has Miguel Cabrera and Ian Kinsler. On the left, Andrew Romine and Casey McGee. He taking the place of the injured third baseman for the Tigers. Here's Ian Desmond, and he takes a strike. Desmond batting .291 with 20 home runs and 70 RBI. Up the middle. Kinsler behind the bag. Throw, and he got him. Oh, no, he came off the bag. Had to wait for a second. Tom Hallion seeing exactly where Cabrera's foot was when he got the ball, and Brad Ausmus wait for the assessment of his video guys.
Well, nice play by Kinsler. He had to go a long way up the middle. Got something on the throw, and there you can see the foot just trying to sneak off the bag. Yeah, it looks like it just barely off the bag.
You're right, just did.
First time I wasn't sure. That time it looked like he was off the bag.
And Ausmus says, no, I want you to take a look at it. We don't. We're not satisfied that that call was correct. So on the second play of the game for the Rangers, we're going to have a challenge by Brad Ausmus. Tom Hallion, the crew chief, and Anna Mamari. Here's a play by Kinsler.
Well, he got it there in time. Just a question of whether Cabrera was able to keep his foot on the bag. You're going to be able to tell from that angle.
From that angle, you couldn't. You're right, Tom.
Let's see here.
This one might show you something different.
I don't know if there's enough evidence to overturn it. It looked like his foot is inching off the bag right there. Doesn't look like he's on the bag when he catches it.
And, you know, where Tom Hallion made that call from right down the first baseline, he probably had the best angle of anybody to see.
Yeah, and he waited to call it.
Yeah. Now you can see that heel coming up, and the foot apparently not in contact.
Now it is.
Now it is. So we will see what Replay Command Center has to say about that. Ford bringing you this Tiger Challenge. Call on the field is safe at first, and it'll take clear and convincing evidence to overturn that. Clear and convincing video evidence. And they're taking a pretty good look at this back in New York. So Ian Desmond will either be at first or back on the bench when we get the result, and it is coming down now. He is safe at first. The Rangers get the first base runner of the night for themselves. The call stands, meaning there wasn't enough evidence to overturn it, but there also wasn't enough evidence to confirm it. Therefore, the call stands as it was made on the field. And it's ruled a base hit. Well, Desmond with the infield single. And here's the Ranger designated hitter, Carlos Beltran. Beltran with the Rangers, a .310 hitter with a home run and 4 RBI. Overall, he's hitting at .304. 2-0 as Sanchez missing outside.
Sanchez doesn't throw quite as hard as he did in his prime, and you really can't tell exactly what kind of pitcher you've got by looking at his .588 earned run average. His last 2 starts have been good. 8 innings, 1 run, 6 innings, 1 run. And he's the kind of guy on any given day can tune up a gem. He's had 4 one-hitters in his career. He's had a no-hitter. He's had a game where he struck out 17 batters. So on any given day, you can face one of the best guys in the league, but not on a consistent basis at this stage of his career.
2-1 to Beltran after that foul ball.
You go back a couple of years, and he had a big year with the Tigers. Won an ERA championship here in 2013.
Right. Won 14 games that year. And
yeah.
Was on a very good pitching staff. There goes Desmond, and the pitch is fouled back. Ian had a big jump. And he'll have to retrace his steps. Tigers have gone into an overshift. They took their third baseman McGee and put him over between Kinsler and Cabrera on the right side. They left the shortstop Romine over there. That was easily a stolen base, and the ball not been fouled back.
And McCann throws out runners at a 51% rate. So he's very good at throwing out runners.
Check swing. And the appeal down to third. And Phil Cuzzy says, nope, no swing. So 3-2 with 1 out. Beltran batting third. He'll be followed by Adrian Beltre. Desmond, pretty good lead at first. He's on the move. Payoff pitch is popped foul back into the seats. We'll reset and try it again. Well, the Tigers, and you wouldn't know it looking at the first 3 batters the Rangers have had. They're the 6th fewest shifting team in baseball. They just don't use the shift to that great extent, but they've used it a lot here in this first inning. Used it on Chu, used it on Beltran, and shifted on Desmond. And I guess it's no surprise if you're going to shift against somebody, you do it against the Rangers. The team shift third most against the Rangers of any team. There goes Desmond. Pitch is slapped the other way through for a base hit. Desmond just continues on to third, and he's going to be held there. Collins gets to the ball quickly. Now Beltran going against the shift. And he had the shortstop Romine going to the bag, maybe a count too early. He had just enough commitment to the bag that he couldn't reverse his field and cut that ball off. So the Rangers have runners at the corners and 1 out.
Well, one thing you see from Beltran is you see a hitter that if you pitch him away, he's not going to try to pull that ball. He's going to hit the ball the other way. It was too close to take. Not a lot he could do with that pitch except try to hit it and put it in play. And with the help of the shift and the movement by the shortstop, he was able to find a hole.
So back-to-back singles, 1 out. Here's Adrian Beltre, the team leader with 72 RBIs. Got Desmond at third, Beltran at first. Ball 1 inside. Adrian Beltre has had great success against Sanchez. That's 7 out of 10 against the Tiger right-hander. Also had 4 RBI in those 10 at-bats. 1 ball and 1 strike. Well, after a 2-hour and 40-minute rain delay, fans very comfortable here. Temperature has jumped back up to 80 from 79. Very pleasant evening. Not a great deal of wind, but well, that's a nice sight on that scoreboard. 2 balls and a strike to Beltre. Adrian at 280, 5-game hitting streak alive. On 9 for 22. Sanchez a check of the runners. Beltre loops one to right, a base hit. Desmond will score. Beltran starts at second. Adrian Beltre drives in his 73rd. The Rangers lead it 1-0.
Adrian's on a nice roll. Came into the game knocking in runs, and he's still knocking them in. He's at 32 RBIs in the 7th inning or later. Clutch RBIs late in the ballgame. Here's one right off the bat to put the Rangers ahead. Pretty good fastball right there by Sanchez. Tailing in. Hit him a little bit off the trademark. But no problem. Just line it softly over Kinsler's head for a run.
And I'm sure you could excuse Anibal Sanchez if it's not going through his mind, oh, here we go again. Sanchez in this ballpark has not had a whole lot of success. His ERA coming in is 12.34. And that's a little bit more than just inflated. That's huge. This is 4th career start. And already down 1-0 as Rougned Odor takes strike 1. Well, 3 consecutive singles, Rangers on the board, and Odor looking for more. 22 home runs, 60 RBI for the Rangers second baseman. Pop foul back behind home plate. 0-2. Odor with those 22 home runs, tied for second among second basemen in baseball with home runs. He's tied with Ian Kinsler, trailing Robinson Cano. That's pretty good company. Put yourself up in that category. Kins, we mentioned, having a great year at 21 home runs. That's how many Odor has as a second baseman. He has one as a DH. Sanchez got him to try and climb the ladder. That is out number 2.
And 6th, the catcher, number 25, Jonathan Lucroy.
That's something Sanchez does very well. He elevates out of the strike zone with that kind of over-the-top motion. It's a lot of swinging strikes up there. Well, here's Jonathan Lucroy. At .294 average with 17 home runs. That's one shy of his career high, 56 RBI, 2 for 6 in his career against Sanchez. That ball's hit well to left center field. It is up the alley and deep. It is gone. Jonathan Lucroy leaves the ballpark. 4-0 Texas.
Swung at that pitch, it looked like that's the optimum pitch for him to hit for distance. A fastball down. We talked about Jonathan in the pregame show. That's his 8th hit as a Ranger, and 5 of them have been home runs.
That ties his career high for a season, and we're only in mid-August. 18 home runs now for the Ranger catcher. Here's Moreland. Watch this launch.
That's pretty much right in his wheelhouse. You could tell by the comfort in his swing and how the ball jumped off his bat.
That pitch outside to Mitch. 2 balls, no strikes.
8 hits, 5 home runs, and a double. I'd say he's maximized his output.
That's a pretty good thunder, I classify that as.
Well, that was going to be at least a couple of runs, and when it went out of the ballpark, it turned into 3.
And Mitch takes ball 3, just a little bit low. Ball carrying about halfway back in the bullpen out there. No, a 4 spot. Moreland looking for more with 2 outs. 3-1. If Moreland's able to extend this first inning, Nomar Mazara, the 8th place hitter, would get a shot at Sanchez. Moreland has 19 home runs this year. He has been on a roll. .255 average now. Full count. Mitch, 48 RBI. He is 2 for 6 with a home run in his career against Sanchez. Well, Mitch in the last 3 weeks hitting over 400. Got him swinging. Sanchez able to pull the string, and that'll do it for the Rangers. But they strike for 4 runs on 4 hits. Capped off by Jonathan Lucroy's 3-run home run. And after 1 here at Globe Life Park, the Rangers 4, the Tigers nothing. Texas Rangers baseball on Fox Sports Southwest is brought to you by your Texas Ford dealers, by AT&T high-speed internet, and by Southwest Airlines. Now, Jonathan Lucroy back behind home plate. He just crossed home plate after he launched his 18th home run of the year, a 3-run blast. Capped off a 4-run first for the Rangers. Yu Darvish going to work here in the second. J.D. Martinez leading things off. He'll be followed by Justin Upton and Casey McGee. J.D. Martinez, he's been battling some injury problems this year too. 14 home runs though, a 297 average. 2 balls, no strikes. The Tigers have the middle of their lineup healthy. They are as formidable as any team around. There's a strike. Miguel Cabrera, Victor Martinez, J.D. Martinez, Justin Upton. They can put some hurt on you offensively very fast. Darvish set for the 2-1 pitch.
You know, it seems like he's throwing more fastballs and getting more swings and misses at his fastball. I don't know if that's true or not, but that's what it seems like.
But, you know, I think before when we saw him, Tom, that he wouldn't throw enough fastballs to generate the swings and misses. I mean, it was almost like a fastball was a change of pace. And guys, they'd swing and miss or foul it off, but they wouldn't have real good swings at it.
Yeah.
They didn't see many of them.
No.
Our Kubota Power Stats talking about Yu Darvish. Since his return from the disabled list, 5 starts now, 2.73 ERA, almost 30 innings of work and 6 walks, 43 strikeouts, the most in the American League in that time. Another fastball right in on the fist. Still 2-2. Boy, what a benefit it is for a guy like Yu Darvish to be able to establish that fastball in a hitter's mind early, get him swinging at it. And with his ability to command a number of different breaking pitches. Second and third time through the lineup is going to be something to see. Full count to J.D. Martinez. Justin Upton, the number 6 hitter, waiting in the on-deck circle. Now the payoff pitch. Deep down the line in right. That's going to slice back into the seats.
A couple of long at bats. Cabrera had a pretty long at bat. Now leading off the second, Martinez has had a long at bat. One thing that Jeff Bannister, I'm sure, is hoping for tonight is a long game for Yu Darvish. Hopefully 7 innings if he can. Bullpen's been used quite a bit. Looking for some length here.
Now another 3-2 pitch. It's a solid base hit up the middle. That fastball didn't quite get down and away, and J.D. Martinez able to rope it back through the box. No one on, nobody out. Upton coming up. We're going to welcome in Jim Knox.
I appreciate it, Buzz. Great crowd here on a Friday night. Madeline, a big Ranger fan, taking in her very first game. We also have the Kilmer family in from Abilene, 6 strong. Grandpa and Ann having a good time. Look at Eric. Way to go, Grandpa. And Stacy celebrating her 25th birthday. And you're from where?
Detroit, Michigan.
All right, Ranger fan here. Even have the Yu Darvish shirt on. Way to go, Stacy. Good job, Buzz.
All right, Knoxy, thank you. Great crowd to hang on through the 2-hour and 40-minute rain delay here tonight. No, 1 on, 1 out here in the second. 1 on, nobody out here in the second. Justin Upton, who is in an 0 for 11 skid, takes outside for ball 1. Upton, a .234 average with 13 home runs and 46 driven in. Rangers shade him a couple of steps around to the left. And Darvish hits the inside corner. Good look at the Ranger defense. Odor, maybe 3 steps toward the center of the diamond. Rangers, of course, always with a runner on, looking for that double play grounder. 1 and 2. Darvish will look over his left shoulder at first. Now he'll send a little calling card to Mitch Moreland for J.D. Martinez. Tigers not very much of a base stealing club. Kinsler, the team leader with 13. 2 and 2. Upton, one of the big free agent signees, going over trying to fill out the outfield for the Tigers. Breaking ball just hung up a little high, and it's a 3-2 count. So back-to-back hitters now. Darvish is gone to 3 and 2. Upton hitting 6th. Casey McGee, the third baseman, is next. Payoff pitch coming from Darvish. Got him swinging. Upton very prone to the strikeout, and Darvish the master of the strikeout. 1 away.
He's coming into the game 62 strikeouts in 45 innings. He's had 3 already today. And there's the fastball. Here it is. Middle of the plate, inside third of the plate. Threw it right by Upton.
Oh, 1 gone. Casey McGee brought in to take the place of the injured Nick Castellanos. Shame for Castellanos, too. He's having an outstanding year. Had to go on the DL. There's a pitch in for a strike. Had a non-displaced fracture in his hand. Did Castellanos.
Yeah, two good young players, Maben and Castellanos, out of the lineup. That hurts the Tigers.
Looped into right center field. On comes Chu. Still coming on. Goes into the slide and makes the catch.
Well, he had one that Cabrera hit that he couldn't quite get to, and he was determined to get that one.
Yep.
That looked like a blooper that might be well placed between Chu and Odor. And Shin-Soo takes a little jab step back, but has time to come in and make a nice sliding catch, make up for it.
He was just reaching back to get the starter's blocks.
Just wanted to make sure he could slide for it, not catch it too easy.
Yeah.
Nice play.
No, out number 2. J.D. Martinez still anchored at first. James McCann, the young catcher, stepping in. McCann hitting at just .201, but he has shown some power. 8 home runs, 34 driven in. McCann out of the University of Arkansas. Tigers are playing Houston last week. He had a grand slam home run in the first inning off his teammate at Arkansas, Dallas Keuchel. Mazara came in. That ball is over his head. J.D. Martinez being waved around. Here comes a throw from Andrews. And the tag, he's safe. That line drive right over Mazara's head. He kind of froze for a second. And that allowed the ball to travel to the wall. Made a good relay throw to Andrus, and Elvis uncorked a dandy to the plate, but it was just a hair late.
Yeah, the only way they could have got him at the plate is if the throw took a perfect bounce on the third base side of home plate or came all the way in the air. It's a short hop that Lucroy has to concentrate to catch and then come back with a tag. He tagged him, but not before Martinez was able to get his foot on the corner of home plate. The throw's on the other side of third base, maybe.
No, it goes down as an RBI double for McCann. His 35th of the year. It's a 4-1 Ranger lead. And Andrew Romine, the switch hitting shortstop, takes ball 1. Romine not in the original starting lineup. Jose Iglesias was, and it was announced right before the game that Iglesias was going to have to go on the disabled list. 1 ball, 1 strike. Well, the injuries continue to mount for these Detroit Tigers. Darvish with a 1-1 pitch. Romine, the 9th place hitter, a .225 average. Darvish back to the plate. Romine, a home run and 6 driven in this year. 2 hits in his last 11 at bats. Inconsistent playing time. Now Darvish should check at second. Nice block by Lucroy. That forces McCann to stay at second. 2-2. Darvish up to 44 pitches for the evening. 29 strikes, 15 balls.
The Tigers have taken a lot of pitches and fouled a lot of pitches off. Not many early in the count outs.
Darvish with a new baseball back up on top of the hill. Agrees with Lucroy and sets. That was a last second thought of swing, and he did.
That was basically to keep from being called out on strikes, it looked like.
Darvish back to Romine. Pulled slowly out to Odor. And that'll do it. James McCann comes up with a 2-out run-scoring double. Tigers on the board, a run on 2 hits. They lead 1. After 1.5, Rangers leading 4-1. Texas Rangers baseball on Fox Sports Southwest is brought to you by your Texas Ford dealer. Visit your local Texas Ford dealer today during the Ford Freedom Sales Event and see why Ford is the best in Texas. The Rangers leading 4-1 as Nomar Mazara starts things off here in the second inning. Strike 1 from Anibal Sanchez. Mazara, 285 with 13 home runs and 44 driven in. His offensive numbers have been on the uptick of late. Starting to get things back in order for himself. He's hit safely in 9 of his last 10 ball games at a .355 clip. Still 0-2 after the foul ball. Got off to that terrific start, first couple of months of his career, April and May, and the last 50 games though, it's kind of evened out a bit at 247. Romine behind the bag, right on the rim of the outfield grass, throws out Mazara, 1 gone.
Right straight up the middle. In the old days, that's a base hit.
Yep.
Trying to think way back when we played, how many players did you had any kind of a shift like this? The most famous one before we played was Ted Williams,
sure.
The shift they put on against him. But there weren't many of them.
No, not
There's shading,
much.
but
Yeah.
not shifting like that.
And you might find guys playing a few steps on either side of second, a second baseman or a shortstop. They would shade a lot up the middle on an extreme pull hitter. If you were to take Andrew Romine, the shortstop, move him over about 10 feet, that was about the maximum amount of shade that you'd see. Guys like Reggie Jackson, I guess, would have that kind of shift. Elvis pops one up in the shallow center. Collins coming on, but Kinsler there for out number 2.
I can remember coming up to bat one time against, you were probably there, against Kansas City when Whitey Herzog was managing, and Frank White was playing right behind second base when I was hitting, and I'm thinking, man, do I pull the ball that much? And I can't remember who was pitching, but anyway, I got jammed and hit this little dribbler into right field for a base hit. Not like I was trying to go that way. And the next time up, he was back in his normal position.
Here's Shin-Soo Choo for his second at bat. You know, Whitey had all those spray charts that he'd do himself.
Yeah,
did it with colored pencils. And you know, he'd have a different color pencil for each pitcher, and the hitters would have their own separate charts.
Yeah.
And he'd sit there after the game, and then dotted lines were ground balls, and solid lines were fly balls.
See, he was doing analytics back then when no one knew he was doing it.
And he said the only reason he did it kept him occupied. Choo takes a strike. It's 2-1. But no, those really came in handy. And there had to be something in your chart that said recently you'd been pulling the ball.
Yeah. Yeah.
Choo had a fly ball to center to start things off tonight for the Rangers. Takes that outside, ahead of the count now, 3-1. So Choo with 2 outs, trying to get a board here in the second. Ian Desmond is in the on-deck circle. And ball 4 puts Choo aboard. Sanchez with his first walk of the night. It'll bring up Desmond, who had the infield single that started the Ranger 4-run uprising in the first. Desmond now with that base hit has hit safely in his last 4 ball games. It's lashed out of play. Upper deck on the right side. 0-1. Ian yesterday went 2 for 6 in that 4-hour marathon of a ball game. Said he started feeling better at the plate. He's having better swings. Said he feels like he's more in control of the bat and of himself up there. Oh, 0-2. Always enjoyed hitting in this ballpark. And this year, highest average at home in the American League at 351. Sanchez okays the sign. Chopper right to Cabrera at first. That'll do it. Rangers get a walk but leave Choo stranded. We have played 2 at Globe Life Park in Arlington. The Rangers 4 and the Tigers 1 on Fox Sports Southwest.
Rangers leading the Tigers by a score of 4-1 here at Globe Life Park in Arlington, and it is Foundation Friday, where we tell you some of the good works that the Texas Rangers Baseball Foundation is doing in the community. School's just around the corner, and Texas Rangers Medical Center Arlington Fitness All-Star Program will start again in Arlington 5th grades. To check out the fitness videos and nutrition tips for your kids, visit texasrangers.com/fitness. And not just for 5th graders, Tom and Buzz. If you want to check out some nice videos, head on over to texasrangers.com/fitness. I think I might give it a shot.
Cool.
I wish I would have known about that during the rain delay. Could have given me something to do.
All right, Em, thank you. Appreciate it. Ian Kinsler at the top of the order, starting things off here in the 3rd against Yu Darvish. Rangers on top 4-1. Kinsler hit by a breaking ball that got away from Darvish.
You were saying he leaned into the ball, but he didn't really lean into it. He just turned his shoulder. He definitely didn't try to get out of the way, but you're allowed to do that. He's not too worried about the pitch because it's a breaking ball. Just wanted to get hit on the soft part of the muscle. So he turned into it. Actually, he turned away from it.
No, 1 on, nobody out. Here's Tyler Collins, who went down swinging his first time.
I mentioned that Hewitt has had trouble with the first batter of an inning. When batters lead off an inning, they hit .381 against them. 5 walks and now a hit batter. Tonight there's been a base hit and a hit batter leading off an inning. After that, though, it's a different story. With men on base, opposing hitters bat .137 against him.
It's almost like he wants to give himself a challenge to put a guy on and say, okay. I know that's not why, but it would appear that way if you just looked at the numbers.
Yeah.
And that's one of those things, you know, I'm sure that Darvish has tried everything in the world that he can think of. A little too slowly, I think, to turn a double play. Collins gets down there pretty well. They do get the force at Kinsler at second. That nice play by Odor to get that lead runner.
Yeah, that was not an easy play because Kinsler had a good jump and he went hard into second base. And Roogie didn't have a lot of time to get it there. And he threw a 90-mile-an-hour strike to Elvis to just get Kinsler at second. Elvis gets out of the way and gets it back to first, but not in time.
Kinsler even bowed out a little bit so he can try to get in the path of the ball. No, 1 out now with Collins at first. Here's Cabrera. Looped a single into right field. And he ropes one to left. Mazzara coming on. He has this one played perfectly. Makes the catch. And with 2 out before Victor Martinez comes up, we're going to send it over to Dana Larson for a Chevy game break. All right, Dana, thank you.
Well, that was a nice way to go out, but at the same time, I don't think 10 years ago that was the send-off that Alex anticipated. I had a chance to see Derek Jeter's send-off, the tour he took around the American League, and Big Poppies this year. I'm sure in his own mind back then, that's kind of what he envisioned for himself.
Sure.
And unfortunately, with circumstances the way they are, it didn't turn out that way. Off-speed pitch right there. Changeup, splitter. Not sure what he calls it, but I'll call it a changeup.
Yeah, it's not real hittable, whatever he wants to call it.
It was slow and he was way out in front of it.
1 ball and 1 strike. Now, and you're right about Alex, Tom. It's almost a tragedy having him go out like that. You know, but you know, you make your bed. I guess you lie in it eventually.
That's the way it is.
And apparently he's been pretty introspective about things. He accepted that, okay, that was what I did, and so I'm getting my just desserts of it. So
Yep.
But
And
great career, no doubt about that.
It ends 3 home runs short of 700.
Boy.
He's kind of hoping that he hit 2 his first 2 times up today. And see if they gave him a chance to get 700.
1 ball and 2 strikes to Victor Martinez. Now 2-2. Tyler Conklin still the runner at first. Victor Martinez went down swinging against Yu Darvish in the first inning. Darvish a couple of looks over his shoulder at Collins. The 2-2. Got him swinging again.
Same thing last time. A couple of change-ups to get ahead in the count and fastball to put him away. And that guy doesn't strike out that much.
Nope. 4 strikeouts for Darvish. Tigers gone in the third after 2.5, 4-1 Rangers. Cole Hamels takes the mound this season. Section 9 becomes Hamels Heroes, and everybody purchasing a ticket in Hamels Heroes section receives a t-shirt and a K card. You can visit TexasRangers.com/Hamels to purchase your tickets for tomorrow. Cole taking on these Tigers tomorrow night. Carlos Beltran, who singled to left center field his first time. Pops one foul. He's down on the count now, 0-2. It'll be Beltran, Beltre, and Odor, the first 3 to do the swinging for the Rangers. Texas on top, 4-1. They have out-hit the Tigers 4-3 tonight. Sanchez back to the plate. 1-2. Well, Beltran now has had at least 1 hit in each of his last 3 ball games. He's gone 10 for 30 in a Ranger uniform. 2-2. You got to think, if you're a young hitter, if you're Rougned Odor, if you're Nomar Mazara, sit around and pick Carlos Beltran's brain every chance you got.
Probably watch everything he did with at the plate.
And you're right about Tommy. He's a very relaxed hitter. He's been this way his entire career.
Yeah.
That kind of an approach anyway, it seems like.
Yep.
3-2 pitch. Ball 4. Lead off walk. Brad Ausmus has seen his starter, Anibal Sanchez, now walk 2. He will face Adrian Beltre, who had an RBI single in the first inning.
Yeah, I think we were talking about this the other day, Buzz, that it's not just the hitters that would talk to him, it's the pitchers might talk to him to get an idea. And I think it was Yu Darvish had a nice conversation with him and felt he came away with some good information that he could implement to help him.
Beltre, a towering foul ball to left field. Oh, he was trying to ambush that fastball, and he did. Ended up in the club level about 900 feet from home plate. Adrian now 73 runs driven in, the most on the Ranger Ball Club this year. And that batting average at 281. Hits this and hard to center field. Collins going back at the track makes the catch and runs right into the paddock. Well, that line drive scorched 400 feet to center field.
Yeah, all he had to do was get it up in the air a little bit, and it probably would have carried 10 more feet. A couple of hard hit balls to center field. Chu hit one leading off the ball game right at Collins at center field. This one he had to run down in front of the wall. That's pretty much the same pitch that Lucroy hit out of the ballpark, a low fastball. Adrian hit it hard. Just might not have gotten enough underneath it to get it up and over the fence. The concentration on Collins as he goes back to make a nice play.
No, that is one hard, long out here in the third inning. Rougned Odor steps in with Beltran still at first. Odor struck out swinging on a high fastball first time up. 0-1. 281 Odor's average. Rougned a 6-game hitting streak coming into play tonight. Been a .357 batter over those 6 games. Last month of play has hit .326. Nothing in 2.
Well, if it's going to be a little bit like the last at bat, you would expect at some point in time Sanchez will try that high fastball. Rugi missed it the first time up. Now he's behind in the count 0-2, and you mentioned that Sanchez likes to do that. Well, he's got another chance right here if he wants to try it.
Saw McGee, the third baseman, go over on the right side of the diamond. And that fastball was down, and Odor fouling it deep down the line in left.
Yeah, he risked having that one driven into the gap in left center field. That was a pitch that Rugi had a good swing at. There's a big gap out in left center field, too.
Upton toward the line in left, and Collins toward the right center field gap. He'd run for days in that alley. Still 0-2. Odor waiting. Sanchez picks out a sign, and he sets. 1-2. Rougned putting together a pretty good streak here at home. He's been a .357 hitter in his last 14 home games with 4 home runs and 12 RBIs. So he's almost an RBI per game in his last 14 home games. Staying alive right off the end of the bat. Odor in the first 3 games against the Tigers this year had 4 RBI. Those games up in Comerica Park. Been a .345 career hitter against Detroit. There's that high fastball, and Odor couldn't get on top of it. 2 gone. 3 strikeouts for Anibal Sanchez.
And catcher,
And here's Jonathan Lucroy. Very quickly becoming a fan favorite, you would have to say, at Globe Life Park. Didn't hurt that he hit a home run in his first game at home. Smoked one to center against the Rockies. And a 3-run home run tonight into the Tigers bullpen. One ball, no strikes. Jonathan Lucroy, 10 games with the Rangers now, a .267 average, gone 8 for 30, 5 home runs, 9 RBI. It's a home run every 5 times to the plate. That may be expecting a little too much, I think, for him to keep that up, but it's a pretty good start. 2-0. We'll go back and show you that home run in the first inning.
Nice smooth swing at a pitch that I'm sure he would love to see again.
Well, he's got a chance here at 2 balls and no strikes. And he didn't get the fastball.
No, got the same location, but not the same speed.
2-1 now. Lucroy this year coming into tonight, second among major league catchers in average and RBI, slugging. He's third in home runs. And he added to that total tonight by 1. Beltran a fairly short lead at first, but Sanchez maybe remembering Carlos Beltran of years past.
Yeah, he has not attempted a stolen base this year.
At 39, you wouldn't expect him to be running wild on the bases. It wasn't too long ago that he would. That's ripped foul down the left side.
And looking back at his career when he was running a lot, he didn't get thrown out very much either. He had great instincts on the bases. Excellent percentage base stealer. There was nothing on the field he couldn't do way above average.
And he would fall into that overused 5-tool category.
Yeah,
and he was a true 5-tool one.
Yeah, I don't think it was overused for him. You're right. Because he could run and he could throw.
That one's over Lucroy's head, ducking out of the way. 3-2. So with 2 outs now, Beltran will get a running start from first. Lucroy trying to extend this third inning, and Mitch Moreland will follow.
You know, some people, Buzz, have said there's more than 5 tools. They call the 6th tool like something like makeup, maybe. Attitude, intangibles.
Yeah.
Smarts, whatever.
Baseball IQ.
Yeah, however you want to label that. So I give him that too.
Out of play. We'll try it again. Yeah, whatever package you want to say, he's a complete package.
Yeah, he had it.
Yeah. And you can put all the qualifiers on there. Maybe he wasn't very much of a pitcher, but that's about it. Now Sanchez ready one more time. Beltran on the move. 3-2. That's belted deep to left field. That is on its way. Goodbye. Man, another 2-home run game for Jonathan Lucroy. His 19th home run of the year. 6-1.
He's got 9 hits as a Ranger, 6 home runs and a double. Forget what his RBI total is up to. He's got like about 11 runs batted in and 30 at bats. Be a pretty close game if it wasn't for him.
And he won one. Goodness gracious.
This is only the 3rd inning.
Yeah.
Manny Machado hit 3 home runs in 3 innings the other day.
Oh, a 6-1 Ranger lead. Here's Mitch Moreland. Ball one.
I don't think it's a fastball. No, it's a hanging slider right down the middle. Sanchez has been a little bit prone to the home run ball. A little over 100 innings. That's the 20th.
Moreland
There's
driving one to right field. Back is Martinez. He leaps. Goodbye.
I was going to say there, he's giving up 20. There's 21 right when I was talking. Sorry to interrupt your call, boss.
Oh, you're good. Back to back. Moreland and Lucroy at 7-1. Well, Moreland and Beltre went back-to-back yesterday. And Mitch liked it so much, he decided to go back-to-back with Jonathan Lucroy here tonight.
Since the All-Star break, Mitch has hit 9 home runs. I thought he got this one, must have hit it off the end of the bat, because if he got it good, Martinez wouldn't have wasted his time jumping for it.
Well, he didn't miss that by much, did he?
No.
Rich Doobie, the pitching coach, out to have a little chat with Anibal Sanchez. So 3 home runs in the game. Softball getting loose in that Tiger bullpen. 2 by Lucroy. Jonathan Lucroy with his 8th career multi-home run game. Now Nomar Mazara, first ball swinging, skies the shallow center. That'll do it. But a little thunder and lightning here tonight. Jonathan Lucroy and Mitch Moreland going deep. Rangers score 3 runs on 2 hits, nobody left. And after 3, it's the Rangers 7 and the Tigers 1. Now let's go to Aaron Hardigan in our Rooms to Go lounge. Moreland going back-to-back with him this past inning, but Lucroy, for the 8th time in his career, a multi-home run game. He has 5 RBI tonight on 2 swings of the bat. 16th time this year the Rangers have gone back-to-back in a ball game. They're making a habit out of it. That's 2 days in a row. J.D. Martinez is swing and a miss. Mitch going out just over the glove of J.D. Martinez. For Moreland, his 20th home run of the year. And for Jonathan Lucroy, 19 home runs, and that's a new career high. Well, he didn't want to waste any time getting that new career high. And here is that home run for you. I thought for a second that was going to try to dismantle the Jack Daniels club, but it kind of died out there about 420 feet from home plate. A 1-2, the count to J.D. Martinez, who singled and scored the only Tiger run so far.
Oh, watch, I've seen 3 straight breaking balls.
Yep.
And I'm sure was looking out over the plate and just barely got out of the way of that pitch. Take a deep breath after that.
That's a pitcher saying to a hitter, that outside part of the plate's mine.
Yeah.
You can't have that.
I would have gotten the message. Sorry if you thought I wanted it.
Yeah,
I didn't want it that bad.
Now the 2-2. Breaking ball hung inside. The count fills. Well, Martinez leading off the Tiger 4th inning. He'll be followed by Justin Upton. Rangers now 7 runs on 6 hits, 3 of them home runs tonight.
Well, Martinez led off the 2nd inning with a long at bat. And he's going to walk right here. Again, the first hitter of the inning 3 times in this game. A hit by pitch, and now a 6-pitch walk.
See Darvish kind of shaking his head out there. You know, what in the world is going on? A reminder that fans attending the game this Sunday will be treated to an Adrian Beltre removable helmet bobblehead. That's courtesy of Nitto Tires. Be one of the first 15,000 fans at Globe Life Park, Rangers and Tigers that afternoon. You can collect this one-of-a-kind bobblehead. Find your tickets at TexasRangers.com. And remember, remove Beltre's helmet at your own risk. Little looper out behind second. Odor back to first.
Boy, that was close at first, too.
A lot closer than J.D. Martinez was counting on it being. Guys are looking at the dugout saying, well, maybe take a look at it. Yeah, just one out.
That ball got way in on the handle.
Oh, one gone. Here's Casey McGee. McGee looped a ball to right field that Shin-Soo Choo made a great sliding catch on. 0-1. McGee, a well-traveled veteran, primarily third baseman. DH some. 234 average.
There's a veteran major league player who was willing to go down and play in AAA, and he's having a spectacular season in the International League. He was hitting .320, led the league in hits, doubles, 2nd in average. So he earned this promotion. Took an injury to get here, but he didn't back into this promotion.
Oh, 0-1 to him. At the knees, 0-2. McGee, as we mentioned, recalled when Nick Castellanos had to go on the disabled list. Darvish with the 0-2 pitch. Nice block by Lucroy.
Well, he got J.D. Martinez 0-2 with a couple of breaking balls and spent 4 pitches trying to strike him out. Ended up walking him. And you got McGee right here 0-2. Trying to strike him out with a slider.
Darvish with 68 pitches under his belt as he works here in the 4th inning. Chopper, Odor, they get one at second base, and Elvis dragging that toenail across the bag as he reached out for that throw.
Boy, take a nice play by Elvis. Get the lead runner. Elvis had to use his athletic ability to stretch, catch it, and keep his foot on the bag. Rugnet had to throw it away so it didn't hit Martinez.
So McGee, the runner at first base now with 2 outs. In that replay, you can see the foot maintaining contact with the bag as Elvis reached out for the ball. Elvis doing a little teaching, a little mentoring to Rugnet. Here's James McCann, who had the RBI double in the second. McCann upped his RBI total for the year to 35 with that 2-bagger. Good breaking ball.
He ripped a fastball the last time up for that RBI double. And this time he hasn't seen a fastball yet. He's seen a couple of strikes.
0-2. The U chants beginning to circle Globe Life Park. Got him swinging. Couple of hammers in that heater. We'll see you later. Darvish with his 5th strikeout. Walker left stranded. After 3.5, Rangers 7, Tigers 1. Fox Sports Southwest. National Jersey Night. Fans who wear a Rangers jersey to the game will get to participate in a pregame parade, and they'll receive a voucher for buy one, get one tickets to select games in August. Plus, Texas Rangers retail locations are offering 15% off all Rangers jerseys from now until August 15th. Get your ticket for Monday, August 15th at TexasRangers.com. Elvis Andrus leading off the Ranger 4th inning. He's the number 9 hitter and facing Anibal Sanchez, who throws a knee-high strike. Elvis popped out to second back in the 2nd inning. Hits the ball to right field. Hits it pretty well. That chases Martinez back. But he has room just in front of the track for out number 1. Elvis makes a right turn, heads back to the Ranger bench. Back to the top of the Ranger order, and Shin-Soo Choo. Choo has flied to center and walked. That batting average right at 260 as Choo steps in. Oh, 0-1. Choo has hit safely in 6 of the 8 games that he's played in since coming back off the disabled list. And he drew a walk again, as you would expect. He's been doing that with regularity. On base percentage right around 380. One and two. Anibal Sanchez, 71 pitches tonight, 49 strikes and 23 balls. Now 2 and 2. The Rangers 3 more home runs tonight. They have hit 40 since the All-Star break. That's the most in the major leagues. They've gotten on a pretty good roll, and boy, up and down the lineup, they've got guys who can hit the ball out of the yard. Sharply hit. Romine scrambling up to throw him out. Nice play by the Tigers shortstop. 2 gone. Hughes hit the ball hard a couple of times. Nothing to show for it yet.
No, keep hitting it like that. You'll find a lot of holes, though. One was a line shot to center, and that one was a well-struck ground ball. Nice play by Romine.
Saupold again up and throwing. He was kind of in limbo for a while this afternoon. Tigers announced that hard-throwing Bruce Rondon was activated from the paternity list, and Saupold was going to be sent out. And then they announced that because they had to disable Jose Iglesias, that Saupold will be staying here. I don't know whether he'd gotten to the airport or where he'd gotten, but he was back to the ballpark.
I deleted him off my list. I had to add him back on.
Ian Desmond is 1 for 2 this evening. That pitch inside to him. 2 balls and a strike. Ian had an infield single in the first. Came around to score the first Ranger run as Adrian Beltre brought him home. Tried to stop his swing and couldn't. It's 2 and 2. Sanchez back to the plate. Call, strike 3. And Ian Desmond not very happy about that. But he will head on back to the dugout. No, 3 up, 3 down. Rangers gone to the 4th after 4. 7-1 Texas. Baseball on Fox Sports Southwest is brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Transparency, low fares, nothing to hide. And by the all-new 3-row Mazda CX-9, meticulously crafted for driving because driving matters. Now, Yu Darvish back to the hill to start the 5th inning against the Tigers, who face Andrew Romine, the number 9 man. And then back to the top of the order for Kinsler and Collins. And Romine slices the ball into left, and Mazara got a good jump on it. One pitch and one away.
Yeah, love to get that one pitch out, and you retired the leadoff hitter. Trying to keep that pitch count down and get that extra inning in tonight.
Well, he'll face Ian Kinsler now for the third time tonight. Kinsler was hit by a Darvish breaking ball last time up. 0 for 1 after popping out to begin proceedings tonight. Now the Rangers just informing the fans here at Globe Park. Unfortunately, because of the 2-hour and 40-minute rain delay tonight, there won't be any fireworks after the game. There's an Arlington City ordinance that prohibits firework displays after midnight. So the fireworks show will be moved to tomorrow night. So if you folks don't have your tickets for tomorrow night, make sure to get them now. You come on out and see the fireworks show. Big Green Egg sponsoring that. A lot of disappointed youngsters here this evening, I'm sure, but unfortunately, not much you can do about it. Mother Nature wanted to drop some rain on the Metroplex, and we needed it. 1-1 to Kinsler. Just missed down and away. 2-1. Be a lot of very happy lawns when you wake up in the morning.
Yep.
Nice and green. Right field, Chu got a good break on it. 2 gone. Oh, 1 to left, 1 to right. Now Tyler Collins will come up.
Yeah, McCann doubled with 2 outs in the second inning. Since that time, there's been a hit, batter, and a walk, but nothing in the way of a base hit. And has kind of settled down as far as his pitch count goes too. It's at 77 right now, which is manageable. Long first inning, pretty long second inning, but so far the potential for 3 straight quick innings.
Collins takes ball 1. Yeah, and people would say, well, what is a manageable pitch count? The rule of thumb is about 5 pitches per out, or about 15 pitches per inning is kind of a cutoff point. Anything above that is considered probably too many. And if you're able to get in below that in a lot of innings, then you're doing a pretty good job being economical with the pitches.
Yeah, well, that would get you 7 innings at 105 pitches.
Right.
That's been a low count when you were pitching, Buzz, but it's kind of a manageable count right now.
Collins flies to right. It's a 1-2-3 inning for Yu Darvish, his first of that kind tonight. We have played half the ball game at Globe Park. Rangers 7, Tigers 1.
Bottom 5 here at Globe Life Park in Arlington. The Rangers on top of the Tigers, and a big day tomorrow as fan vote for the t-shirts is very timely because the fans selected this t-shirt in honor of Prince Fielder. And these will be given away on Saturday to the first 15,000 fans, 14 and older. So there you've got Prince right here on the front, and then on the back, all hail the Prince. And I almost fell down, but I didn't. So all hail the Prince on the back, and then the profile of Prince on the front. So the first 15,000 fans, 14 and over, tomorrow get one of these guys. Oh my.
How about Carlos Beltran going yard? Right down the right field line. The 4th Ranger home run of the night. Beltran lights it up. It is 8-1 Rangers.
I mentioned that Sanchez is a little prone to the home run, and I'd say that's gone pretty true to form tonight. Almost came down on top of the foul pole.
Carlos with his 2nd Ranger home run, is 24th of the year.
I'd say the new guys have made a pretty good impression.
Yeah.
Low inside fastball. Trying to give it a little body English, and it worked. It stayed fair. Couple of hits, a home run, scored a couple. Now he's knocked in one as well. Nice, easy swing. Doesn't look like that swing would generate a high towering home run down the right field line. He's so smooth.
Beltran taking the pitch inside. One more look at that going out. That might have been over the foul pole. Well back into the lower home run porch. I know that. Yeah, Beltran rips one foul down the left side.
Nice play. Look at her. She brought a glove and she caught a line drive. I don't know if that's her husband or not, but if it is, he's pretty proud of his wife. Saved him getting drilled by a ball. Nice play. Gotta love this.
We got that back for you there. There we are.
Because that was a rope, too. Would have hit him right in the left elbow. Yeah. She can't believe it.
Is that surprise or is that happiness?
That's both.
Both.
That's
Yeah.
both. You know, you bring your glove and you hope for a ball, but that exceeds your wildest expectations.
Beltran tomahawking his 2nd hit of the night to left field.
Wasn't a little blooper either. That was a line drive. When her husband goes back and sees the replay of that, he'll thank her for making sure his elbow isn't in a sling tomorrow.
One more time before we take a break. Right there.
Chuck Thompson in Baltimore would say, give that fan a contract.
Look at that. That's great. The reaction is worth the price of admission.
Oh, man, I love that.
No, Sanchez can't get it out here in the 5th inning, and Brad Ausmus out to take the ball from him. We'll be back right after this on Fox Sports Southwest. Days are one of the best ways to save at the ballpark. You can find tickets, parking, and meal deals for just $10 for most Tuesday home games. Visit TexasRangers.com/specials to secure your $10 Tuesday tickets for August 16th. Oakland A's in town to take on your Rangers. And she is still checking that out, and her phone is blown up. You get texts from everybody that's a Ranger fan watching this game and see one of their friends highlighted out here at the ballpark. Great catch. You say, no, give me that glove back now. That's not very manly for me to let you take it. And of course, she probably made a better catch than he's going to make. Yep, there we go. Warwick Saupold up the middle, Odor with a base hit. Saupold with the second pitch he throws almost had his left kneecap taken off by Rougned Odor.
The catcher, Jonathan Lucroy.
Our AT&T high-speed internet, high speed for Jonathan Lucroy, his first home run into the Tiger bullpen. A 3-run blast, then a monster shot to left. A 2-run home run. 8th career 2-home run game for Jonathan Lucroy. Now 2 on and nobody out for Lucroy. He is facing Warwick Saupold, the right-hander that has come on now. Saupold, a 26-year-old from Redcliffe, Australia. This is his 4th year in the Tiger organization. Little looper to right. That is going to fall for a base hit. Beltre had to wait to make sure it was going to get to the outfield, so he stops at third. 3rd straight hit for Jonathan Lucroy. 4th straight hit for the Rangers in this inning. They got the bases full for Mitch Moreland.
Yeah, Jonathan has to settle for a single. Generally, when he puts the ball in play for a base hit, it's a home run.
Beltre looking back behind him, putting his hand up to Odor, said, no, take it easy. I'm not going anywhere. Don't run me off over here. So the base is full. Rangers now with 10 hits tonight. Mitch Moreland had his 20th home run of the year last time up. Saupold with ball 1. Mitch with the bases full in his career, a .355 average. He's got Beltre, Odor, and Lucroy, 3rd, 2nd, and 1st, with nobody out here in the 5th. 1-1. Good look from behind as Saupold sets. In the dirt, McCann able to keep that close enough to home to prevent any advance. 2-1. Take you back last inning. Mitch Moreland, last time up, Mitch Moreland with his 20th home run of the year, just over the outstretched glove of J.D. Martinez. Only 9 home runs for Moreland since the All-Star break. Goodness. 2-1 the count. Got him on the fist. To home for the force. There's Cabrera. It's Beltre at the plate. 1 out. Base is still loaded. Nomar Mazara coming out. Mazara tonight has grounded to short and fly to center. Omar, 13 home runs, 44 driven in. His home run total has been pretty stagnant the last month and a half. Way up in the air, shallow center. Romine, the shortstop, makes the grab, and that is out number 2. Saupold making it pretty tough on the Ranger hitters. Before Elvis steps in, send it over to Dana Larson for a Chevy game break. Dana, thank you. Yeah,
we saw a little bit of that, Buzz.
We did. We did a little too much. Charlie Blackmon, well, he is on fire. Elvis takes outside for ball 1. Elvis 0 for 2, a pop out and a fly out. 347 career for Andrus with the bases loaded. And he's also hitting 464 with runners in scoring position, but he pops this one up into shallow right. Martinez makes the catch. Saupold gives up a couple of hits, but leaves the bases full. And the Rangers score 1 run and leave on 3. We'll go to the 6th inning, 8-1 Texas.
Rangers 93, 72.
Park, the Fox Sports Fan Express rolled in from the big town of Austin, Texas. Yes, on hand, plenty of listeners for 104.9 The Horn. Katie, you guys having a good time so far despite the late start, right?
Yes, all we care about is the Rangers win. We love the Rangers and we love those home runs.
There we go. And I understand you have a question for Buzz and Tom. That question would be, listen to this, guys.
I do. Is there a run rule in Major League Baseball?
Good question, Katie. Tom, you want to tackle that one?
No, we were hoping there was like a 10-run rule tonight since we started 3 hours late, but no, there's not.
There's not, Katie.
Oh,
sorry about
we
that.
got a
You're
long
gonna
ride
have
back
to
home.
long ride back. Okay. Enjoy the rest of the game. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
All you have to do is ask the Baltimore Orioles about
Yeah.
that a few years ago.
That's right.
When the Rangers popped 30 on them.
Yeah, 30 consecutive, if I remember right.
Yeah, they were hoping there was a run rule.
Now in the 6th inning, Miguel Cabrera leading off. Cabrera 1 out of 2 tonight. Cabrera to be followed by Victor Martinez and J.D. Martinez. Yu Darvish, 81 pitches thus far as he's starting inning number 6. Drops in that curveball. 1-1. You look at the leaderboards for the various analytics, and Miguel Cabrera wears out breaking balls in those leaderboards. He has the top average of American League hitters, or of Major League hitters, against a breaking ball, not just off speed, but a breaking ball. Hitting, I believe, was 365. He's also one of the top hitters when he is behind in the count. Darvish with a 2-1 pitch. Chu circling underneath this one. That thing's way up there, and Shin-Soo makes the catch. He has made 3 consecutive outs. Shin-Soo Chu has.
Designated hitter Victor Martinez.
Folks, the next Texas Chili Company Dollar Hot Dog Night is this Wednesday when your Rangers take on the Oakland A's. Come on out here at Globe Life Park. Enjoy all the hot dogs you can eat for just $1 each. Get your tickets at TexasRangers.com, or you can call 972-RANGERS if you prefer. One gone. Victor Martinez has had no luck at all this evening in solving Yu Darvish. He has struck out both times. And Darvish, who has thrown a couple of high fastballs by him, starts him off with a slow curveball.
Yep, first 2 times up, it looked like change-ups, splitters that he got ahead with. This time it's a curveball. There's the one he swung and missed at a couple of times. Waited till he had 2 strikes to show him that good 96-mile-an-hour fastball.
You know, most of the time, guys will tell you, well, you know, we don't get him the first time around, and the second time will be easier. The third time, piece of cake. You know, most starters will be out. They don't have that much to work with. You may never see the same pitch 4 at bats in a row off Darvish.
Yeah, the first time up, they may have seen mostly fastballs, but after the first time up, started to mix in some other pitches. Now, I guess that's establishing your fastball.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's, you know, as we talked about early in the first inning, Tommy, a guy like him, if he goes out and does that, gets hitters aware of 96, which is what he had out there, boy, that sets everything else up. And then you got guys scrambling to make adjustments. I would think trying to adjust backwards from a 96 is a little tough.
Yeah.
1-2 to Martinez. As a hitter, do you always have that? A guy shows you some good hard fastball. Is that always in the back of your mind as you come up again?
It was mine. I think a lot of hitters are geared up to hit a fastball and make an adjustment if it's something slower. I guess the great hitters either identify the pitch early or just look for the ball and hit it. But even though a guy's got great breaking pitches, I never had the ability to look for one and hit it anyway.
Elvis on the second base side of second takes that ball. Rugnet playing in the shift way out in right field. So
Rudy said, "Go ahead, I can't get there."
Elvis took care of that.
I think Martinez could have gotten to first base before Ruby could have got in to catch the ball.
Look at Odor's barely in the same zip code as this thing. Yeah, nice play by Elvis.
Yeah, unfortunately, the right guy hit it as far as speed to first base goes. Well, Yu has really settled down as far as his pitch count goes, and maybe the reason is he's getting a little bit more efficient with his outs early in the count. Hasn't had a strikeout since let's see, had the strikeout last out of the 4th inning.
Right.
1, 2, 3 in the 5th, 1, 2 here in the 6th with no strikeouts.
You know, the first 2 innings, 47 pitches. Since then, you know, he's been at 43 in the next 4 innings. JD Martinez has reached both times tonight. He has singled and walked. Head in the count here, 2 balls, no strikes. Darvish back to the plate. Popped up, way up there. Between the mound and second base, Elvis taking charge, and that will do it. Another 1, 2, 3 inning. That is 7 straight. Make that 9 straight now. Set down by Yu Darvish, and we have finished 5 1/2. It's the Rangers 8 and the Tigers 1. time now for the Sonic Slam inning, brought to you by Sonic. Tonight's jackpot is worth $600 and dinner for two at Sonic Drive-In. If a Ranger hits a home run during this inning, Micah Maddox from Fort Worth will win $600. And if a Ranger hits a grand slam this inning, Micah is going to win $25,000. You can register at any participating Sonic restaurant. Micah, don't go too far away, because I think the way things are going tonight, you stand a pretty good chance of having a Ranger leave the ballpark for you. Shin-Soo Choo is 0 for 2 tonight with a walk. And he's ahead of the count now to Warwick Saupold at 2 balls and no strikes. Hard hit into the shift by Kinsler.
Boy, if that ball got picked by Kinsler, Choo would have had 3 times where he hit the ball hard and didn't have anything to show for it. Fortunately, that one skipped by, Ian.
Well, 1 on, nobody out. That brings up Ian Desmond.
A well-struck line drive right there.
Shift, a ball hit that hard doesn't really help you too much.
No.
Unless they give you a flak jacket to put on with it. Here's Desmond, 1 for 3 tonight. Ian, a single and a run scored in the first inning. Since then has grounded out and struck out. Desmond up among the league leaders. That run that he scored is 82nd of the year. He's been a big part of the Ranger offense. His base hit is 134th, 7th in the American League in that category. 1-1 as Saupold checks Choo at first. Anibal Sanchez, the starter for the Tigers, went 4 innings plus 2 hitters in the 5th. Gave up all 8 runs. They were all earned on 8 hits, 4 home runs, 2 walks, 4 strikeouts. High chopper that's going to be foul down the third base line. And we'll come back and try it at 2-2. Rangers tonight 8 runs on 11 hits. Yu Darvish has allowed 1 run on just 3 hits to the Tigers. Tigers have had a tough time offensively lately. That's been the big problem for them. Desmond gone on strikes as he expanded his zone upwards just a bit. Saupold gets his first strikeout.
Carlos Beltran.
Carlos Beltran has been aboard all 3 times tonight. A single, a walk, and a home run. Play to the left. Carlos, for the year now, is hitting .308. Home run total up to 24. 69 RBI. The OPS now, on base plus slugging, up over 900. One and one. Saupold a check of first. Two balls and a strike. Saupold, as I mentioned, signed out of Australia by the Detroit Tigers. Signed as a free agent before the 2012 season. Two and two. for most of his minor league career. He's been a starter. As many as 8 ball games for the Tigers minor league clubs. Full count. Beltran, the third place hitter, batting with Chu at first, bidding to get on base to join Chu. Adrian Beltre is next. Payoff pitch coming to Beltran. Over the mound. Oh my, back to second. They get to sliding Chu. No, 2 away. Beltran at first, and Beltre comes up.
Third baseman, Adrian Beltre.
Beltre having another solid night here tonight. He's 2 for 3. His one out was a 400-foot line drive to straightaway center field. Adrian, 6 straight games now he has had base hits in, and well over 400. That ball smoked by the third baseman McGee, and it banks off the sidewall. Beltran to third and into second with his 3rd hit of the night. Adrian Beltre.
It would appear that Adrian's starting to heat up. Hopefully it'll be just like last year when he and Chu carried the team the last 2 months of the year. Jumps on that high inside fastball. Moving off the plate, not even a strike. Just rips that ball down the line.
For Adrian Beltre, that is career double number 581. A young 37-year-old who's 21st on the all-time list. 21st double this year for Beltre. Well, here's Rougned Odor now. Runners at second and third and 2 outs. Odor singled his last time up, his first hit of the night in 3 trips. He rips one to right field. Martinez coming on and makes a sliding catch. Well, Odor hitting that ball right on the button. Rangers get a couple of hits, but Strand 2. We're going to the 7th inning at Globe Life Park. The Rangers leading the Tigers 8-1. Well, you may not shoot any fireworks off after midnight, but our 4-game ceremony sure the Rangers got it going so they can shoot them off. Jonathan Lucroy left the ballpark twice in the first and third innings. That ensued. Mitch Moreland driving it out in the third right after Lucroy's second home run. Carlos Beltran right down the line, his second home run in a Ranger uniform in the 5th inning. And the fireworks went off every single time. Rangers got it done before midnight. 8-1 Rangers. Yu Darvish back out for inning number 7. Dustin Upton, Casey McGee, and James McCann to face him. Upton takes a strike. Upton has struck out and popped out. Darvish, who went 7 innings of shutout baseball his last outing against the Astros. Backing it up by going into the 7th inning here tonight, and looks very strong doing it. 0-2 to Upton.
That's one of those games where after a couple of innings you wondered what Yu's pitch count would be like, how deep he could pitch into the ball game. But he's managed it pretty well and getting some outs early in the counts. Had a chance to finish 7 innings.
That's 10 straight now that Darvish is set down. Upton grounds to Elvis Andrus. And it'll bring up Casey McGee. McGee has flied to right field and grounded into a fielder's choice. Just 3 hits for the Tigers off of Darvish tonight, and none since the 2nd inning. Darvish has struck out 5. He has walked 1 this evening. Also hit a batter. 1-0 pitch to McGee. Elvis uncorks a high throw that goes up into the stands. And McGee is going to be aboard. Boy, that ball. Elvis, I didn't know I could throw one that far.
I think Elvis felt like he had a little bit of time. He took his time, then he realized, whoa, I got to get rid of this ball. McGee's getting down the line a little faster than I thought he was. Had to rush it, launched it.
After James McCann.
I suppose on a night like this, it's always possible there's a little moisture on the ball. But Elvis certainly had enough time to get a feel for it. For Elvis, just his 11th error this year. He came in 4th in the American League as far as fielding as shortstops. Though the error, first miscue of the night for either club. McGee at second. And James McCann hits one deep to left center field. And that ball is out of here. McCann, first ball swinging, drives it out of the ballpark, and it's an 8-3 Ranger lead. McCann with his 9th home run of the year.
It looked like he got an off-speed pitch that hung up there for him. The Tigers capitalized 1 pitch after the error. Yeah, there's a curveball that just never got down where you wanted it to.
7th home run that Darvish has given up this season. Ball way out into the bullpen. No, a 5-run lead for the Rangers. Andrew Romine, switch hitting shortstop, fouls the pitch back. It's 0-2. Romine 0 for 2, a ground ball to second and a fly ball to left. A little nubber foul back behind the plate. Still no balls, 2 strikes. Darvish just passing the 100 pitch mark. Another 0-2 and another foul ball. Now checking the scoreboard tonight, the Rangers' closest pursuer, the Seattle Mariners, down to defeat in Oakland. The A's beat them 6-3. Next closest, the Houston Astros won 5-3 in Toronto.
If the Rangers hang on and win, they will lead Seattle and Houston by 7.5. Rangers have played several more games than Seattle has.
1-2 pitch. Out of play. The Rangers like being in first place. They like it so much they just kind of squatted there and have not left. They've had first place, sole possession of first place for 70 straight days and 74 of the last 75 days. Kind of getting comfortable there. Nice place to be comfortable.
Yep.
Jeff Bannister, Doug Brocail, and I think they both like what this team is doing lately, getting back to what they had done earlier in the year. Elvis throws out Romine for the second out. And the starting pitching starting to get back into shape as far as getting deeper into ball games. That takes the pressure off the bullpen. Yu Darvish 1 out away now from completing 7 innings, his second straight start. Jeff Bannister out there to make sure that Yu Darvish is okay. He's at 105 pitches, and the skipper just checking in with him, make sure everything's all right. Go ahead and pitch to Ian Kinsler. Kinsler 0 for 2 tonight. Was hit by a pitch in the third. That was sandwiched in between a pop out and a fly out. Kinsler, as you can see, a .291 average. That pitch apparently a little outside. The 1-0 pitch got him down toward the trademark a bit. Mazara back up against the wall, can't hang on to it. Kinsler into second with a slide and a double. It looked like Nomar might have thought he was a little closer to the wall than he actually was, and the ball went off the end of his glove, and that's going to do it for Yu Darvish. So he leaves with Kinsler at second and 2 outs. And Mazara getting that ball back in. So Darvish to the chorus of U's as he goes off the field. Pitching change underway. Top of the 7th inning. Rangers leading 8-3. We're back right after this. Top of the 7th inning, Tony Barnett, the Fairbanks, Alaska native, or Anchorage, Alaska, excuse me, coming on to take over for Yu Darvish. Tony Barnett put together some outstanding numbers. He's worked 17 1/3 consecutive scoreless innings over 13 games. It's the second longest streak in the major leagues. It's active, facing Tyler Collins with Kinsler at second and 2 outs. And Collins drills one to deep right center field. That is gone over the bullpen as Tyler Collins greets Tony Barnett with his 4th home run of the year. It's an 8-5 Ranger lead.
Well, you go back and look at that error now. Looked pretty harmless at the time. Now the Tigers have capitalized. Collins got a pitch to hit, and he hit it.
So, here goes Tony Barnett's streak of scoreless innings. It snapped at 17 1/3. Now he has to deal with Miguel Cabrera. That ball well over the Ranger bullpen into the 3rd row of the lower home run porch. 0-1 to Cabrera, who is 1 for 3 tonight. Oh, 0-2. With Kinsler scoring on that home run also, that's just the 8th inherited runner that Tony Barnett has allowed to score out of 35 this year. Hit well to right center field. Long run for Desmond. He can't get there. Off the wall on a hop, and into second is Cabrera.
Two doubles, 2 home runs in this 7th inning for the Tigers. They're a good offensive team, and took a while for them to get going, but they've got it going here in the 7th inning. Tried to throw him that same slider, but you can see where number 2 was, down and away. This one didn't get far enough down or far enough away. Cabrera, a power hitter who uses the whole field, goes with the pitch.
Seems like we see a bushel basket full of those. Miguel Cabrera comes into Globe Life Park. That double off the deepest part of the ballpark out there.
Yeah.
So Victor Martinez up there now. He is 0 for 3 tonight. And takes strike 1. Martinez struck out twice against Darvish and grounded to short. Rangers infield shading Martinez around to the right. Now Lucroy and Tony Barnett going to have a little face-to-face out there. Keone Kellen, Ranger right-hander, loosening in the bullpen. Amazing, 20 minutes ago you wouldn't even have given a second thought to having somebody up or thought of bringing him in right away. Now all of a sudden you got the tying run in the on-deck circle. A little bit low, 1 ball and 1 strike. Victor Martinez, one of the tougher outs late in a ball game. He is among the league leaders in RBI after the 7th inning on. 2-1. Tony Barnett peering in for the sign. On the outside corner. 2-2. Adam Amari getting an earful from Victor Martinez. Well, the crowd showing their support for Tony Barnett and the Rangers. 4 runs across. Cabrera at second, the 2-2 pitch. He's fouled down, and we'll try it again.
Martinez wasn't taking any chances. He swung at a pitch that was more than several inches outside. Still got a piece of it. Martinez has punched out a couple of times tonight. He's a guy that throughout his career has been almost as many walks as strikeouts.
Yu Darvish, Kevin Harmon, Ranger trainer over there on the top rail. Barnett okays the sign. Another 2-2. Got him swinging. Worked that one in off the plate inside, and the strikeout sends the Tigers back to the bench. But they get 4 runs. It's an 8-5 Ranger lead. Now let's join Chuck Morgan as he introduces God Bless America.
Please rise.
Let's take a look at tonight's greater coverage of baseball, brought to you by T-Mobile. Milwaukee Brewers became the 19th team since 1900 to score at least once in every inning last night. They defeated Atlanta 11-3. Alex Rodriguez, playing his final game with the Yankees tonight, was 1 for 4 with an RBI double. Well, the Rangers coming to bat here in the bottom of the 7th inning. It's now an 8-5 Texas lead. Jonathan Lucroy leading things off, and he hits a high drive to left field, but this one is going to stay in the ballpark. Upton back there to make the catch. Oh, 1 pitch and 1 away.
First baseman.
Mitch Moreland coming to the plate before he steps in. Let's send it over to Dana Larson for a Chevy game break. All right, Dana, thank you. Well, here's Mitch. 1 for 3 with his 20th home run of the year. And home run back-to-back with Jonathan Lucroy in the 3rd inning. Mitch, a .256 average overall now. 1 for 3 this evening. One ball and 1 strike. And Mitch is our TXU Energy power player to watch. An 1120 OPS since the All-Star break. That is good for 3rd in Major League Baseball. I mentioned Mitch's home run tonight, his 9th since the All-Star break. Also hit safely in 5 of his last 6 ball games at just about a 400 clip. Saupold with a 1-2. Backing out of play. Tom, you got a good jump on that ball. Good reaction.
I was just looking to see who was going to get it, or whether I was going to have to duck out of the way, just like that guy earlier. No one here to catch it for me, though. No gloves up in the booth.
No.
We haven't had a ball hit up here in a couple years. A lot coming our direction, but we're a little bit too far to get.
Fritz Dykert reminded me. Fritz caught one.
Is that the last one this year?
It's been a while.
That.
Actually, he caught it on the bounce.
On the bounce?
On the carom.
We'll give him credit for that.
He played the carom properly.
That's right. I remember now because I remember him giving it away.
Mitch checking his swing. And that runs the count full now at 3-2.
Yeah.
This one right here. The good-looking Dykert.
Yep. Caught it and found a fan and gave it away. My memory has been jogged. It's not very good to begin with.
Well, you got to. It's 12:18.
Now, 12:18, 1:18, 3:30. Doesn't really matter.
Payoff pitch coming from Saupold. We'll try it again. Mitch, along with a home run, has grounded into a fielder's choice and struck out this evening. Rangers 8 runs on a dozen hits tonight. Tigers climbing right back into it with a 4-run 7th. They have 5 runs on 7 hits. Another 3-2. Call strike 3. Not much of an argument from Mitch. Like Saupold kind of crossed him up. That's 2 away. That brings up Nomar Mazara. Saupold gets his 2nd strikeout. Mazara 0 for 3 tonight. Will step in against him. Nomar has popped out, flied out, and grounded out. Way up in the air, shallow left field. A trio of Tigers after it. It's Justin Upton getting there to make the catch. That'll do it. Rangers retired in order. We'll go on to the 8th inning at Globe-Life Park. J.D. Martinez leading things off for the Tigers. 8-5 Rangers.
The game buzzing time. We got to give it to Shirley, 90 years young. And you've been a Ranger fan since how long?
Since day one, since it became the Rangers and the Texas Rangers.
There we go. And you're here with 3 generations. You got your daughter, and you got your granddaughter, and you got your son-in-law right here. What do you think about him?
He's a good kid.
Really? Yeah, he's over there. Of course, he's a good guy. Congratulations. Here's the bag. And I understand you go to bed at 10:30. You're almost 2 hours past your bedtime. It's okay, right, Shirley?
Yes, it is, but it's worth it to stay up to see the Rangers. And if they stayed until 2 o'clock in the morning, I'd do it too.
Oh, that's a Ranger fan. Way to go, Shirley. Buzz.
Thank you, Noxie. Oh, goodness.
Thank you very much.
Jeremy Jeffress, the 28-year-old right-hander, now on to take over, starting the 8th inning. Jeffress, the power sinker balling right-hander, fires a strike to J.D. Martinez. Jeremy, 53 appearances now overall, both with the Rangers and Milwaukee. 2-2 the record, 4 holds, and he had 27 saves for the Brewers before coming over. Opponents hitting .266. On the appeal, no swing. Tom Hallion down there at first made the call. Drew Stubbs entering the ball game, taking over in left field for Nomar Mazara. J.D. Martinez tonight has singled, walked, and popped out. 1 out of 2. Just a little bit low. 2 balls and a strike. Last time we saw Jeremy Jeffress worked an inning yesterday, gave up a run to the Colorado Rockies. And that's low. 3 balls and a strike. J.D. Martinez batting 5th in the order. He'll be followed by Justin Upton. And ball 4 puts him aboard. Oh, now Jonathan Lucroy, who caught Jeremy Jeffress in Milwaukee, out there to talk to him. Remind him of the situation and see if he can't press the right buttons to get him back in the strike zone. Upton tonight has struck out, popped out, and grounded out.
Walks generally not an issue for Jeremy. He's had good command, good control this year. Had a walk in yesterday's game to lead off an inning. That walk came around to score.
You can see on your screen a little bit of light rain falling once again. In case you joined us a little bit late, we had a 2-hour and 40-minute rain delay at the start of the ball game tonight. Got underway about 10:15. Upton now down to the count. 0-2. Jeremy Jeffress, a Virginia native. Got that hard sinker and a good slider. That pitch just missed the inside corner. And Jeffress thought he had that, and Adam Amari, the home plate umpire, disagreed.
A tough pitch. Borderline pitch, could go either way.
And that's one where the guys on the Ranger bench are going to be talking to the home plate umpire about. If Jeffress doesn't get that pitch called a strike, it changes his whole approach. He has to get that low pitch in the strike zone. Now 2-2. So Jeff Bannister and the coaching staff can do everything they possibly can to encourage the umpire to call that low pitch a strike. 1 on, nobody out here in the top of the 8th inning. Inside, 3-2. Well, Jeffress runs the count full after being ahead 0-2, and Upton batting 6th to be followed by Casey McGee.
Got a lot of movement on the ball.
Double play grounded to Odor. Elvis, he drops the ball. Everybody is safe. Elvis is trying to say that the ball was dropped during the transfer, and Jeff Bannister is going to come out very quickly and have a chat with the second base umpire, Brian Knight. There was no hesitation in Brian Knight's call.
Boy, you battle to the count, walk a guy, go 3-2, and then you get what looks like a double play to erase the base runner and get 2 quick outs. And instead, there's the possibility that it's 2 men on and nobody out.
Yeah, I think that's probably going to be overturned.
Looked like it was all the way in his glove, didn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, and you know, the best explanation I've ever heard of that is if the ball is intentionally released, and it looked like Elvis had the ball and then intentionally released it to go to the bare hand with it.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's too bad, because that would have been a nice double play.
Yeah.
2 outs, nobody
Sure
out.
would have been.
A couple more pitches, quick inning, get out of the inning.
Jeff Bannister able to issue the challenge, so the video review will answer that question. The question, obviously, did he have control of it? Was it on the transfer that the ball was dropped? If so, that would overturn the call at second base. The Ford bringing you this Rangers challenge. Call on the field is safe at second. The official back in replay command center will look at the various angles and try to determine whether there is clear and convincing evidence to overturn that call. Get a look at exactly what the replay official is going to look at. And out at second base, so the call is overturned on review. A big out there. But you're right, Tom. It could very easily have been 2 outs.
Yep.
If the ball is handled well.
Yeah, and with every out that you don't get, you get closer to having Miguel Cabrera come up again. And if the Rangers don't score again, when he comes up, it's in dangerous territory.
Well, here's McGee, right-handed hitting third baseman. He reached on an error in the 7th inning, which proved to cost the Rangers a bit. And Jeffress pumps in a sinker for strike 1. Upton with pretty good speed at first. Try it again. Elvis got that one. The throw down to first is not in time.
Boy, they've had a couple of plays like that tonight that are very close plays at second base, and you got a 3-run lead. The safe play is to go to first, but Rookie doesn't play it safe. He goes for that lead runner, and he gets it, but it is close. Throwing off balance with something on it. Very accurate throw. And Elvis does a great job of trying to get the ball back to first base, too.
Sure did. No, that is the second out. Now James McCann, who homered into the Tiger bullpen last time out. McCann 2 for 3 tonight. He has also doubled in a run. Line drive caught by Moreland.
That is robbery.
Flat on the ground goes Mitch. That saved extra bases and probably at least 1 run. And a great play by Moreland to thwart a Tiger rally. Boy, great reactions from Mitch. That'll do it. The Tigers strand a runner. Bottom of the 8th coming up. Rangers by 3.
To 5 as we head to the bottom of the 8th here at Globe Life Park in Arlington. This is the opener of a 3-game set between Detroit and Texas. Game 2 coming tomorrow. Same time, well, actually not same time. Hopefully an earlier time tomorrow. Same place here on Fox Sports Southwest. Pre-game coverage at 6:30, 7 o'clock first pitch. Cole Hamels going to the hill for the Rangers. He'll face off against a very hot-hitting Victor Martinez, as we've seen here tonight. And guys, again, hopefully an earlier start time, 7 o'clock here on Fox Sports Southwest. A big thank you to the fine folks at AT&T High-Speed Internet for getting us ready for Game 2 of 3 between these two.
All right, Em, thank you. Yeah, we'll work on that game time and see what we can do with it. Bruce Rondon, the hard-throwing 25-year-old right-hander from Venezuela, on now just reactivated from the inactive list today. He is on here facing Elvis Andrus to start the bottom of the 8th inning. An 8-5 Ranger lead. Rondon ahead of the count. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Elvis 0 for 3 tonight. Twice he has flied to right. Also popped out. He drives this one to left field. Upton going back. He has room right in front of the warning track and makes the catch. Elvis gave that a pretty good ride. Hit the ball hard to right a couple of times. One gone. Shin-Soo Choo coming up. Time for our Coors Light Cold Hard Fact for you this evening. Rangers have hit 4 home runs tonight. 4th game this year with 4 or more home runs. Season high was 5 against these Tigers. That was back on May 7th at Comerica. Choo takes inside for ball 1. Shin-Soo hit the ball hard 3 times tonight. Has 1 base hit to show for it. 1 for 3. Also has a walk. Out of play. 1-1. Choo's base hit came last time up. That was in the 6th inning. Smashed one through the shift on the right side. 2-1 now. Sam Dyson, Ranger closer, loosening in that bullpen. And the breaking ball sneaks in the very upper reaches of the strike zone. 2-2. Choo with a base hit down. The average at 263 for the year. Rondon back to the plate. Got him swinging, but he pulled the string. And Chu down on strikes, 2 away for Ian Desmond.
Center fielder Ian Desmond.
Folks, MLB.TV Premium, the #1 live streaming sports service, delivers everything you've come to expect and a lot more. You can watch every out-of-market game live in HD on over 400 supported devices. It includes a free subscription to At-Bat Premium, the #1 app for live baseball. Blackout and other restrictions do apply. Just visit MLB.TV for details. Ian Desmond, a base hit in 4 trips tonight. Singled and scored back in the first inning. Nothing and 2. Tigers have been grooming Rondon for a couple of years now to try to be the closer, and for one reason or another, injury or non-performance, hasn't worked out yet. But as we mentioned, still a young 25-year-old. Kinsler on the run, throws, not in time. Desmond able to beat it out. Same thing.
Second time he's had a chance to make that play against Ian. First time the ball was there in time, but it pulled first baseman Cabrera off the bag. That time Ian was able to beat it. 2 nice defensive plays, but 2 infield hits for Ian.
Desmond, another multi-hit game. That's his 43rd of the year. He came in 4th, and only because of him busting it out of the box and racing down the line is he able to get another multi-hit game. No, 1 on, 2 out. Here is Carlos Beltran. Beltran has singled and homered. He has walked and reached on a fielder's choice. 2 for 3 tonight. He has scored 3 runs. One ball and no strikes. Tigers shifting all the way around to the right against Beltran. Rondon missing outside, 2-0. Middle of the diamond, pretty much unoccupied, but a lot of room to the left. As Beltran waits. Light rain continuing to fall here at Globe Life Park. In the dirt, McCann keeps it around home plate. The count goes to 3-0. The Rangers would love to add on a little bit here in the 8th inning. And Beltran at the plate, Adrian Beltre in the on-deck circle. A strike right at the bottom of the zone. 3-1. Again, trying to get Rondon to throw that fastball away, and Rondon doesn't want to do it. Now the right-hander finds one that he can agree to. don't think that's where James McCann wanted that pitch thrown, though. So a full count with 2 outs now. Desmond will be on the move from first with the next pitch. Beltran wagging that bat back and forth. Rondon gets ready. Romine, the shortstop, throws out Beltran. That'll do it for the Rangers. They get an infield single and strand a runner. We're going on to the 9th inning. It is Sam Dyson time at Globe Life Park. The Rangers on top of the Tigers 8-5. Sports Southwest is brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Transparency, low fares, nothing to hide. By AT&T high-speed internet. Get a deal worth talking about. Get high-speed internet from AT&T. And by your Texas Ford dealers. Visit your local Texas Ford dealer today during the Ford Freedom Sales Event and see why Ford is the best in Texas. Now, 28-year-old right-hander Sam Dyson out of Tampa, Florida is on now to try and close out this 8-5 Ranger lead. Dyson appearing in his 56th ball game of the year. He is 25 for 28 in save opportunities. Lee getting 241 against him. Sam got his 25th save the other day against the Rockies in Denver. He is on now to try and take care of these Detroit Tigers. Andrew Romine leading things off. Then it'll be back to the top of the order. Ian Kinsler and Tyler Collins. And you'd love to get the 3 Tigers in order so you don't have to worry about Miguel Cabrera. And that's going to be an infield single. Looks like there's some indecision on Odor and Andrews' part. And Romine with pretty good speed able to leg that out.
Tigers a lot of extra chances here late in the ball game. They cashed in back in the 7th inning. One of those in-between plays.
Like Rugnet was looking at Elvis, and Elvis was going behind him the whole way. And that's going to be an error. Going to rule an error on Rugnet Odor. So a man on. Now the top of the order, Ian Kinsler. 0-1. Kinsler 1 for 3 tonight. Doubled in the 7th and scored. He was also hit by a pitch back in the 3rd. This could be a double play. Elvis, Odor, they turn this one. 6-4-3. All is forgiven.
That's a little bit better. That's what we're looking for. Sam gets the ground ball again, and all's well.
150 double plays for the Rangers this year, the most in baseball. No, base is empty, 2 away. And Tyler Collins, who launched a 2-run home run his last time up. And he grounds to Odor, up and throwing, and that is a winner. Sam Dyson, an efficient 9th inning. 3 hitters, 3 outs, and the Rangers back in the win column here tonight as they win it by an 8-5 count. Matchup of beards there as Lucroy and Dyson comparing chin whiskers. Oh, good all-around game for the Rangers. Good to see Yu Darvish get into the 7th inning and come within an out of completing 7 innings. Got the work done tonight for the bullpen that limited the need for them early in the ball game. 4 home runs for the Rangers tonight. Another multi-home run game for Jonathan Lucroy, his 8th in his career, his 2nd in the span of 11 days in a Ranger uniform. And the Rangers also got a home run from Carlos Beltran and from Mitch Moreland. Jeff Bannister's ball club now 69-48, and they increased their lead in the AL West, now 7.5 games over both the Astros and the Seattle Mariners. Jeff Bannister has to be pleased with the way his club bounced back after a very long and arduous game yesterday. 4-hour affair in the 100+ degree heat. Coming back tonight to get the win. Let's go down to the field. Emily Jones is standing by.
Oh, no, not yet. He's got to get rid of some gear first. Waiting on Jonathan Lucroy. Yeah,
okay.
I briefed him and just